Today I'm going to be forging new arms for my power hammer to replace these crusty old ones.
Today's episode is sponsored by HelloFresh, where you can get pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door so that you can enjoy the process of cooking and enjoy the delicious result. You can get $80 off across 5 boxes when you go to HelloFresh.com and use code FORGE80 at checkout.
Why did the square Steele's wife leave him? Because he was never around. So here's what we've got to do. We've got to turn these big old 4-inch round pieces of steel into the sidearms. Now I had some suspicions that the arms that came on the hammer weren't correct, and I was right. My friend Eric at Hand Tool Rescue had these blueprints for the original pattern for the sidearms, and I looked over it, and these things are kind of way out of whack. The biggest issue that I see is that both of the holes here are completely wallowed out, and also the eye on this hole is solid weld bead. So these guys are going into the fire so we can forge ourselves some sidearms. We're gonna weld some handles onto these for the time being.
This is very exciting to see. You having a good time under the hammer?
I'm having a good time. That hammer is a monster, and those pieces of steel are huge, and they'll burn you from like 6 feet away.
So it's very practical that you're about 1 foot away from the steel.
Oh, it's fantastic. I love the burning that's on my arm. So what we did so far was kind of start to isolate the different bits of material. We started to isolate where the toggle links are gonna sit down here, and then also where this big massive steel is up there as well.
So what I'm gonna do to help you out is I'm gonna make you a scale template.
Wonderful.
So that we can get all the stuff bent looking pretty good.
So I just measured with a string, and we need about 10.5 inches of flat material that we can then bend into our S shape for the arm. So we've got to round out this big ball end here. We've got to bend the arm, and we've got to make a spot for the toggle links to sit in on this side.
So this is what I think we do to widen it out. We put it in the leg vise like this, and we'll take the sledge to it. So now we have that ball isolated, we've locked it in the vise, and we're bending it over so that we can move that whole center away from the center line of the rest of it. to get a bend in. So we're going to use the clamping function of the power hammer. To activate the clamp mode, we flip this lever up, and then it engages a check valve. Holds the ram down. Let's see how that template stacks up.
Oh my god! It's like, it's right there! Oh my, wow. We did it! We did it!
Hard work. We just gotta take another heat to make sure it's all straight and not twisted.
Yeah.
But folks, what a momentous project this is.
Well, the sidearms are looking really good. They've got all these nice curves and stuff like that to them. However, they're both about 3/4 of an inch too long from where the center of the hole will be here to the center of the hole here. So that's not great, but that's fixable. We'll just be able to kind of squish them up a little bit in this direction, and that'll fix that problem. The other problem that we need to fix is that we don't have enough material in between the end of these ears here and the rest of the arm. You see, when we put the toggle link in there, in the spot where it should sit, there's only like 3/8 of an inch of material on either side, and that's no bueno. So, what I'm gonna do, turn the forge back on, fire it up, and squish them this way, and hopefully make it so that we have a little bit more material, first off, around the side of that hole, and then also to support between the arm and those ears that are sticking out.
Currently forging on my great-grandfather's anvil. It's a family heirloom. How cool is this? That's because it's got a heel where you can fit this in there. Exactly. Because we got to widen it out. Makes me so happy to be using it.
You know, when you've been blacksmithing for a long time, you kind of get this like psychic sort of thing happening from when you look at a piece of steel. And I see in my future a trip to the steel supplier because I messed up this forging. We just don't have enough material to be able to draw this down to make it so that that toggle link is gonna have enough support around it. So, back to the steel supplier to get another piece of 7-inch long, 4-inch round. So, while that steel's heating up, let me tell you a quick story. A couple days ago, I went to the lumber store and I bought these 4x4s. But then, my friend Heil called me and I told him I bought 4x4s. He said, Will, that was a stupid idea. Why don't you come over and we'll mill you some custom-sized lumber? So we did that. So these beautiful 5x7 pieces of fur are gonna make an absolutely solid power hammer base.
Will, these toggle arms are looking incredible.
Thank you. Nobody's gonna be robbing this power hammer because it's going to be a very well-armed machine.
That's good.
So long as in next episode, when I mill these, they actually work properly.
So, be sure to check out the next episode by subscribing and turning notifications on. Let's thank today's sponsor. Today's episode has been sponsored by HelloFresh, and boy oh boy am I glad that it has been. We've been pretty busy lately. My wife and I have been pretty busy, and she is working hard at home to keep me well fed. And thanks to HelloFresh, I got to cook for her. Before I was married, I was a somewhat competent cook. But I regret to say that over the last little while, I've really forgotten how to cook things well. Well, HelloFresh sent me a package full of delicious ingredients and recipes, and in no time flat, I was able to put together, with my amateur skills, a mouth-wateringly delicious dish of pork, beans, and potatoes, and it was amazing. To my door came the highest quality pork, a bunch of delicious potatoes, green beans, and the seasoning that I needed. Putting a HelloFresh recipe together is just like making something in the workshop. There's all the components right there. You've got the instructions. You slap it together, but it is delicious at the end. Folks, I implore you, try out HelloFresh and get pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door, and you'll get $80 off when you use code FORGE80 at checkout at HelloFresh.com. Check them out down below. Thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this and for the delicious food. Quick reminder, we're dropping the Steels 01,
our first pair of work pants, on the 2nd of November. Looking very fly, Isaiah. Thank you for the great filming.
See you all soon.
Bye-bye.